This over here is the Peugeot 308, the 308. Over here is the Opel Astra. I look at the front and the first thing that came into my mind was the Chevrolet Camaro. Hello everyone! Today is a very special moment because I introduce you to the 6th generation Opel Astra. Now, this vehicle is very special, guys, because I grew up as a kid seeing a lot of these on the road. Oh yes everyone, you heard me. This over here is the 6th generation Opel Astra, and to celebrate the unveiling of the 6th generation Opel Astra, I have a nice treat for you all. Chocolates. Ooh, we're gonna enjoy some chocolates together. So, these over here are chocolates. However, they're no ordinary chocolates, everyone. Listen very carefully what I'm about to tell you all, and what is the relevance of chocolates and Opel Astra. Listen very carefully. This over here is the Peugeot 308, the 308. Over here is the Opel Astra. This is milk chocolate, regular chocolate, okay? Nothing specific, nothing out of the ordinary. This is double milk chocolate, guys. Tastier, sweeter, and therefore more desirable. And this is exactly what the Opel Astra aspires to be in this generation. More desirable than ever, and perhaps more desirable than the Peugeot 308. Oh yes, guys, those chocolates were delicious. Now, is this Opel Astra just as delicious as those chocolates? We're going to find out in a moment, guys. This is why it comes down to a new topic. I'm going to talk to you all about the history of the Opel Astra. Now, I grew up as a kid seeing a lot of those Opel Astras on our roads here in Belgium. I saw the first generation in particular. I mean, they used to dominate the roads, guys. They were just everywhere. The second generation was very popular as well. It turns out that in the first 3 generations, it was very General Motor-ish. You know, you could see strong General Motor politics behind the design, behind the plastic, behind everything about it. Now, for a long time, Opel had a curse of never being able to make a car that had rich identity. They had a car that was just average in many fashion, guys. So, average design, average reliability, average performance, average everything. They never were groundbreaking, but they never were the worst. They were just, yeah, you know, at least they were something more interesting to own than a Trabant. However, the 4th generation was where it all changed, everyone. The 4th generation became more modernized. Opel was getting closer to finding its own identity. The 5th generation was where everything just went from being boring to being very interesting. Opel became more round-edged. They became more interesting, more funky, if you know what I mean. That was the 5th generation. I sat in the 5th generation, and I have to say it felt like I was in a downsized minivan. I mean, literally, for a C-segment car, I sit inside and it's super spacious. I do not know if this necessarily applies to every single C-segment car, but I do know that there are some C-segment cars that suffered from space issues. And the Opel Astra was certainly not one. The Opel Astra had tons of space. Now, over here, right next to me, is the 6th generation, guys. Now, the 6th generation is very special because this is the Opel Astra built under the PSA group. Since 2017, the PSA group took ownership of Opel. And now, does this help Opel in its quest to look for identity or not? We're gonna find out in a moment, guys. But is the quest of identity really the objective of Opel at this point? It depends, guys. It's not really Opel's top priority, it seems. What appears to be very evident these days is that Opel models of today share the same platform as other PSA group cars. So we're talking about lots of part sourcing. Now, part sourcing is very good because it saves cost on the long run. This is a common practice employed by many car companies in the automotive industry. It's not a bad practice at all, and I would never say that. The only questionable aspect about this practice is a question of identity. This Opel Astra is also particularly interesting because it comes with a hybrid engine, guys. This has to be the first time I've ever seen an Opel Astra with a hybrid technology. More modernized, guys. How interesting is that? Now, This Opel Astra costs 42,000 euros. Is this good value for money or not? We're gonna find out in a moment, everyone. Let's get down with this review right now. Alright everyone, so this is the front of the Opel Astra. The front was particularly interesting, guys, because first of all, when I saw the front, I instantly got reminded of the General Motors era. I don't know what is it about the front, but it ever so slightly reminds me of the Chevrolet Camaro. It's just very interesting, guys. It's because General Motors used to own Opel, and so they would always share designs. They'd always share some things. In fact, I know some Opel cars that actually look like Chevrolet cars, but this was back in the 1970s and 1980s. Like the Opel Diplomat. I remember vividly it looked like something American, but just built in Germany. Whereas in the case of this Opel Astra, I look at the front and the first thing that came into my mind was the Chevrolet Camaro. I don't know what generation we're talking, but I'm sure it's something in the late 2000s and early 2010s. Something like that, guys. Just the design right here, the front, you know. It's very interesting what's been going on with this exterior, and also Opel has made it very sporty. So I like how you get this one single ridge right here in the middle, and for the rest of the bond it's just flat, guys. Well, you get micro ridges right here. So it's very interesting. In fact, this is an Opel identity, I think, because I vividly remember seeing some Opel models in the 1980s that did have something similar going on. Now, first thing that came in my mind as well was also the Opel Manta. I think it's the Opel Manta, is it? Yeah, I think it is. I think it is, guys. Because it's, you know, the front design has become an Opel identity, and I've noticed that Opel has started employing this similar design on every single Opel model that have been released recently, which is very good. Strong sign of identity. This has to be one of the most creative front grille I've ever seen, guys. I mean, look at this. They've blended the design so nicely, and they have this nice exposed grille right here for the air intake. Very, very good. You know, I actually admire this. You see, Opel hasn't been pretentious about it like most brands have. Opel has been very... They admitted that some portions of the grille is fake. So instead of doing a fake grille, they decided to do a design that blends with the entire front. And at the same time, just have exposed grilles right here. I first of all have to compliment the color, guys. The color looks adorable. I love it, guys. Just look at this. Wonderful blue. That looks very nice, guys. I also like how the front parking camera is blended very well within the badge. Very nice. You get a 360-degree parking camera. That's something I can already confirm just looking at the front. And you get front parking sensors. Very nice. Now this is the side view of the Opel Astra, and I really like how you have the body color and the roof is covered in black along with this wing mirror right here. Very nice. It looks quite nice. It's becoming a common trend these days where there's a duotone color going on with many cars. So they would have the body color in a certain color and the roof being either black or red. And this is the wheel of the Opel Astra, guys. Very interesting actually, because when I first saw this wheel, this wheel looks actually quite interesting, but it reminds me of something they used to do before. I just don't know what it is, guys. I really don't. But it looks very good. I really like it. Look at this. Look at this design. I like how the C-pillar is exposed in the body color. It looks very nice, guys. The C-pillar is the only pillar of the three that's covered in blue, whereas the other two pillars are black. Very nice. And this is the fuel cap, by the way. This has to be the largest fuel cap I've ever seen. And... Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, guys. My apologies. Actually, this is not a fuel cap. This is a recharge cap. Okay, let's see what's going on the other side. Perhaps it's the fuel cap on the other side. Let's see. Ah, here we are. Here we are, guys. Here's the fuel cap on the other side. So it's good. So you get the plug-in hybrid on the other side, and this is the fuel cap. So this Opel Astra is a plug-in hybrid. Very interesting. This rear design is actually quite good. I like it. The design of the rear lights looks actually quite interesting because the red lining is exactly like something Opel would always do. This is good. Some Opel models that usually have a continuous trim that goes all the way at the rear. So something like the Opel Astra last generation, especially the sedan version, it's very interesting. So it's, for this case, instead of having a shiny trim, they have the light that continues. Oh, and in case you guys haven't noticed already, for some reason you get what looks like vents over here. Nice, cute little design right here. It's interesting. What has Opel been thinking about this? Quite nice. I think this is an Opel identity because I vividly remember the first generation actually had a... I know some Opel models actually had some gray plastic right here. They would have the exact similar grille going on right here. It's very interesting what Opel was thinking. So it's... I don't know if this was deliberate to be a remembrance of the classic Astras, or if this is just by chance. So whilst exploring the exterior of this Opel Astra, I was impressed. I was very, very happy. But I also noticed some questionable aspects. The first questionable aspect I would like to point out is the fact that you get what looks like an event right here, but for some reason it's just a chrome, and the rest of it is just a trim, and you get a fog light right there. And that's it. So it's designed to look like a vent. So aesthetically speaking, it's nice, but then when it comes to purpose, it doesn't have any purpose. Another questionable aspect I just remarked, guys, and it's something that really surprised me, is that the wheel looks gorgeous. I really like it. But upon closer inspection, I just realized that this is plastic. Why exactly is there bits of plastic on an alloy wheel? That's something that's... I'm very, very curious to know what's going on right here, guys. Another recurring flaw I've just noticed, guys, is that I don't know if it's just me, but I'm under the impression that the rear design has a bit of inspiration from rivaling companies, especially how the rear, the boot area kind of reminds me of the rear of the Volkswagen Golf. For example, the rear light is also very interesting, and then also this has to be the first time I've ever seen this of Opel. Like usually this kind of design, where the badge tilts to open the rear door, this is something Volkswagen kind of started with the rear, where it's the Volkswagen badge that opens. But now Opel has basically done the same thing with the Opel badge. I like to see this as a sign of inspiration. Now over to the interior of the Opel Astra. So over here is the interior of the Opel Astra, everyone. And I have to confess, I absolutely am stunned by it. Oh, wow, 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 wow. It looks adorable, guys. Oh my gosh. It's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. I like it. I really, really do. Oh my goodness. And believe it or not, this is actually based on the same platform as a Peugeot 308. And the contrast is actually... I mean, it's quite interesting. Like, for some reason, it just looks better than the Peugeot 308. It looks more interesting. Because the Peugeot 308 is a bit too... I've just noticed Peugeot has just developed an obsession for tiny steering wheels. I have no idea where this obsession came from. I have no idea why. I do not like the steering wheel. I just don't. I really prefer when the steering wheel is big. You know, when the steering wheel is at an appropriate size for its segment. But if you keep giving small steering wheels, it just feels odd, you know? Because, for example, let me just show something, guys. Okay, so this is me at the steering wheel of the Opel Astra, okay? So here it is. Like, I feel good. I feel normal, okay? But in the Peugeot, I feel like I'm like this. You see? You know, I feel a bit more compressed or something. I need to feel relaxed as a driver, you know, and the steering wheel should be easy for me to use, you know, and this is an appropriate size. I mean, look at this. It's very easy to use, appropriate radius. So the interior layout is actually quite interesting. The whole area right here, it kind of reminds me of the Opel Zafira, the last generation, the generation before the last one, actually. It's so popular, and I remember the kind of plastic they used to have, the piano black interior, the trim for the interior, and it had this exact similar layout, guys. I mean, look at this. The Opel Zafira, it kind of reminds me of it. And then this whole area is actually quite interesting. I really like how you have the digital instrument cluster, quite standard for a price of 42,000 euros. This over here is your infotainment system. Very, very nice indeed. And then over here, you see this beautiful bit of plastic, right? Oh no, you think it's questionable. I don't think so. Look at what happens when I push this. Wow, this is so cool, guys, and it's actually quite nice. It's really good. And then over here you get some cup holders, very nice, and I love the rubber shutter right here. And then you get another set of storage right there. This storage is actually particularly deep. You get USB points, you get a 12-volt socket, very, very nice. Oh yes, everyone, you get driving mode, you get this nice lever for the gear. I just love how cold the metal feels. Guys, the metal is actually cold. And then over here you get a nice storage space, which looks premium. So over here is your climate controls, everyone. You get heated steering wheel, and also you get heated seats, heated front seats. And yeah, it's quite nice. And then over here you get this nice looking air vent. So I like how it looks quite basic. It's quite nice. So over there you get your center lock button, and this is your start stop button. Oh yes, everyone, you do get a sunroof. How nice. Something tells me that this Opel Astra actually does honor its price, guys. 42,000 euros, and you also get electric seating adjustments. Now that is amazing. Over here is your mirror controls and your window controls, everyone. I just love the quality of the mirror controls. Look at this. This has to be the first time I've ever seen Opel invest more detail into the wing mirrors, the mirror controls, guys. I mean, look at this. It looks and feels very premium. It almost feels as if it's like something from some real German brand. This is a nice door handle, guys. I mean, look at this. First time I see Opel put more detail into the door handle. You get a nice, decent sized door bin right here, and it can fit a big water bottle for sure. Oh yes, guys, the magic of PSA group cars. I don't know what it is about them, but they have one of the deepest storage spaces when it comes to the glove box. Very nice. The glove box is always the deepest, and that's something I've noticed with many Opel models. The steering wheel is also very interesting, guys. In fact, I really like the detail of the 3-spoke steering wheel. It looks quite interesting. It reminds me of Opel models from the 1970s and 80s. In particular, the Manta, guys. I mean, if you look at the design of the wheel, it's like a 3-spoke. It's something... like when I first saw the steering wheel, I thought of the good old General Motor days, the 1980s and everything. It's very nice, and the feel is very good as well. And I like this a nice trim right here. Looks very nice. And then over here, the steering wheel. I like the detail on it. Looks cute. So whilst exploring the interior of this Opel Astra, I was impressed, but at the same time, I noticed some questionable aspects. The first questionable aspect I would like to point out is, first of all, the interior is interesting, but then I noticed something's just... It shares a lot of parts with the PSA group, and it's quite evident. Like, for example, with the window controls, it's quite obvious it's shared with the PSA group, because I've seen similar quality of buttons in other PSA group cars, like the Peugeot models and Citroën models. And speaking of Peugeot Citroën, the quality of the plastic looks very much like Peugeot. It looks like something I've seen in their cars. It's quite interesting. It's all over the interior, guys. Yeah. Now, whether it's questionable or not, you be the judge, everyone, because I think it's okay. I mean, this is, after all, a part of part sourcing, which in turn reduces costs. And then also another thing I found a little bit questionable is this particular trim right here. I just don't understand what is it with the PSA group developing obsessions with random trims, because I noticed the exact similar trim like this in the Citroën C4. The Citroën C4 has a trim that goes like this, and actually at first I mistook it for a door handle, because it looks like a door handle. It looks like something that can be pulled out to be used as a door handle, but you get this bit of trim that has no purpose. It's just there. And it makes no sense, because my hand makes contact with the plastic, but then for some reason you get nice Alcantara fabric right here. I have a feeling it should have been the opposite. I feel like the Alcantara should have been here, so that my hand makes contact with it, so it's more comfortable. But instead, my hand has to make contact with the hard plastic. So I don't understand what exactly is this. Well, what exactly was going on here? It's a bit confusing, guys. Another questionable aspect I've noticed is that there's no storage up here for your sunglasses. So it seems like all the storage solutions are down. Oh yes, everyone, at the rear seat of the Opel Astra, and I have to say I love it. So let me just sit properly. There we go. I have a lot of legroom, although on the sides my legroom is a bit limited, because you have the rail for the front seats, and so therefore I'm forced to put my legs a bit closer together, but slightly buried under the driver's seat, but it's okay. Just pray that the driver and the front passengers are kind enough to give you enough space for the leg. If they're not, then I guess you just have to walk. Yeah, you just have to do your journey by foot, because otherwise, look at this seat, guys. I don't know who was the front passenger last time, but looks as though the front passenger wasn't very nice to the rear passenger. And so they decided they are more entitled, and this happened. Oh, look at this, guys. I have just about enough knee room. Quite nice. And I have just about enough headroom, guys. Look at this. Headroom in the rear is surprisingly great, guys. I just have to remark that. Oh, and tinted rear windows. Yay! That's very nice. Okay, back to the headroom. I have a lot of headroom. That's very good. And I get a nice handle right here for whenever the ride gets bumpy. And I get a beacon of hope lighting up there. Ooh, looks like I won't be in the dark after all. Did I mention something about being a VIP? Oh, I think I just did. Or probably I'm going to right now because, check this out, guys. I got a nice armrest. Like, check this out. A nice armrest, guys. And I get 2 cup holders in there. And I get a nice little bit of storage where I can just store some things. Oh, maybe I could store some chocolate in there. Why not? Yeah, surprise the passengers. And over here are your air vents, guys. Very nice. And you get a nice USB point right there and some bit of storage. And that's it, guys. There's nothing much going on. The climate controls is at the front, so just pray that the driver and front passengers are nice enough to adjust the climate to your favor. Otherwise, just deal with it. Both seats get rear seat pockets. That one and this one. Very, very good. I'm impressed. Alright guys, the rear seat was very interesting. Getting in and out of the car was great. And this has become a very common trend amongst C-segment cars. The recurring thing I noticed about them is that they have the very easy access at the rear. But there's also a reason to this, and it's a bit questionable, and I'm going to tell you all why. There's a recurring flaw I've noticed with many C-segment cars, and that is the length of the rear door. I'm going to demonstrate to you all what I'm talking about. My hand goes all the way here. But then for some reason this part of the door is exposed, and this has been not the first time I've noticed this with C-segment cars. I noticed the Volkswagen Golf had this problem, and also some other prominent C-segment cars, namely the Peugeot 308, which shares the same platform as this wonderful Opel Astra. So it seems as though Opel has understood this problem, and they've made this vertical. Very important. Now Opel has recognized this problem. That's very important. That's good. But did it work? I will find out in a moment, guys. So my hand goes here, and so whenever I open the door... Okay, let me just try this again. So, I'm just about to enter the rear seat. Okay, so I guess Opel has done a brilliant job with how they've designed this rear part of the door. At least they didn't leave it, you know, exposed and everything. They chopped it off here, maintained a vertical lining. That did the job. Because this almost makes contact with my chest, but it does not make contact. But it's like it almost does. So it's better than average, I guess. So, you know, it's just a little thing I thought I'd point out. So here's my conclusion of the Opel Astra 6th generation. My conclusion of the Opel Astra 6th generation is that it's a very promising model compared to the previous generation. The previous generation felt like a downsized minivan. I sat in the interior, it was super spacious, but at the same time, very, very confusing identity. Now, it looks as though Opel's quest for identity, is it really working under the PSA Group ownership? You will all be the judge, because I have to say yes and no. Yes, it's working because I see a lot of Opel traits from previous models. Like, for example, the front of the Opel Astra is very interesting, guys. It really does stand out, and it does prominently remind me of the Chevrolet Camaro. And then the bonnet, especially. The bonnet and the interior, there's something about it that reminds me of 1980s Opel models, like the Opel Manta. Very interesting how Opel has gone about it, although it's not the first time they've employed this tactic. They did it with the Opel Corsa and other Opel models, and I really, really do hope they continue on this direction. Now the most important part, at a price of 42,000 euros, is this Opel Astra a great value for money or not? I'm going to make a confession to you all. Whenever a C-segment car exceeds 40,000 euros, I often get worried. I often get scared because I often have a feeling that something is going to be missing. Because you see, if I'm to pay more than 40,000 euros for a C-segment car, I expect it to be top notch. I expect it to be fully loaded with everything on board. I remember vividly, I saw a Volkswagen Golf about a few months ago. It was 44,000 euros. It was with a plug-in hybrid, but it did not have electric seating adjustments for the driver's seat. And that's something that disappointed me a lot, because 44,000 euros, C-segment cars, and no electric seating adjustment. It was very disappointing. This was something I saw on a Volkswagen Golf. And Volkswagen has a reputation for charging you extra for each and every option. You be the judge whether that's questionable or not. I think it's, yeah, so and so. Every business has their own strategy. But Opel has been very generous, it seems. And when I say generous, I mean it. 42,000 euros was stressing me out. But at the end of the day, do I look stressed? I don't think so. I look happy. And that's because I really am. I think the 42,000 euros is justified by the fact that this is a plug-in hybrid. That's one thing. Plug-in hybrids are always 10,000 euros extra or minimum 5,000 euros extra, something around that spectrum. You can assume that. But one thing that I have to confess is that this car had all the equipment you'd ever desire. Heated steering wheel, heated seats, electric driver's seat, electric seating adjustment for the driver. Oh, that's just what I needed to see. Just what I needed to see for a C-segment car worth more than 40,000 euros. So you want my opinion of this Opel Astra? Oh, I love this Opel Astra. I love this Opel Astra. This Opel Astra is one of the best C-segment cars I have ever seen. You see, guys, I'm going to tell you all something. C-segment cars of today's generation have one problem: being generic. They have only one task. Their only task is to make a car that is appealing to drive and more reliable. Now, there's a few ways they've gone about this, guys. Peugeot has decided they have to be too flamboyant, and that, I think, kind of, made it too, no thanks. But when I see this Opel Astra, I'm like, yes, please. I really, really like this, and I really, really need this. And this has to be the first time I ever say that I desire an Opel Astra. I really, really do. I really, really like it. Because rewinding 10 years ago, they were horrible. Opel had a very serious problem with identity and most of all, quality, especially the plastic. Now, this has all changed. Gone are the hideous plastic, and here come the days when it's all about identity and good value for money. And of course, a bit of reliability. That's always important, especially for the Belgian winter. PSA Group, please continue giving Opel more rights to decide for itself. Please, 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 please. If you could do this, I'd be so grateful, because Opel is finally finding its own identity, and PSA Group, you have only one task. That one task is to support Opel in its quest for its own identity. And if you could do this, we would all be super grateful, and I'm sure the Opel enthusiasts would be your loyal customer once again. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to enjoy my chocolate, and I'm going to enjoy driving this Opel Astra. Bye!